Hello, I'm Kevin Cox,
I'm David Leese.
and we're doing a slideshow on scene safety. All right, so one of the most important things to know is who and when to call for help, and don't be afraid to call for help. You can't handle everything. So, um, if it has to do with violence, obviously the police department, any kind of fire or hazmat issue, or um, even at a vehicle accident, you'll have a fire department, sometimes hazmat crews. Um, Utility crews for wild animals or aggressive pets. You can also call animal control.
So, what are some things that can make a scene unsafe? Um, some things that can make a scene unsafe are down power lines, presence of hazardous materials, motor vehicle collisions for multiple reasons, including things like broken glass and traffic passing on the roadway, scenes of violence, and really anything. Other family members, pets that are on scene, hazardous weather, just to name a few.
So general scene safety principles: know your response area. Um, Industrial facilities, lakes, rivers, highways. Industrial facilities, you want to know what they make there, how big the area is, and approximately how many people you can expect to be in there on the daytime, or in the daytime, I'm sorry. Uh, Rivers, lakes, ponds, stuff like that, especially in the summer months when swimming is popular, or water sports like boating and fishing and stuff like that. And then winter months when ice skating is popular, you can also expect people out there as well. Highways, you just want to be familiar with which direction they go, how many lanes they are, and just keep in the back of your mind that hazardous materials are also transported on those highways and railways as well. Know your resources. Utility companies, law enforcement, fire department, they're going to be your three biggest. Get to know them, train with them, know what they expect so they know what you expect, and work together and just do it safely. Situational awareness is key. If the scene becomes unsafe, leave. That goes for any kind of scene, even medical calls as well. So just keep it in the back of your head. If something doesn't feel right, it's probably not right. And utilize PPE. You always want to be wearing your gloves. Today, obviously, the mask is essential. And if you're out at a crash, you want to use your turnout gear, coat, helmet, steel-toed boots, your vest as well, your high visibility vest. If you're by the water, life jackets, and in some cases, body armor is also needed.
One of the best ways to keep yourself safe, besides situational awareness, is the use of personal protective equipment, also known as PPE. This may include things like gloves, helmets, turnout gear, masks, eye protection, footwear, ear protection, body armor, in some cases, life jackets, and hazmat suits, depending on the situation. One of the most common forms of protection would be gloves. Gloves are something that we should wear on every call. They're the first line of protection, and they help to isolate against body fluids that may contain bloodborne pathogens. If you're wearing medical gloves, they should be made of nitrile. In addition, we may also consider using gloves on scenes like vehicle accidents, stuff like that. Cold work gloves that are made of leather or Kevlar lined to protect against things like broken glass, jagged edges, and other hazards that may be found on scenes similar to that. Another very common form of personal protective equipment, especially nowadays with COVID, are masks. There's many different kinds of masks, most commonly surgical masks, N95 masks, and P100 masks. Each kind of mask has their specific usages. Surgical masks generally protect against droplets on average calls, whereas N95 and P100 masks filter the air from pathogens. And we typically would use those on calls like anytime there would be an aerosolization of droplets. Eye protection. This is pretty self-explanatory. There are a couple of different styles of them. Generally some form of safety glasses or goggles, and they protect your eyes against body substances that may be splashed into them. You can also wear safety glasses. You should also wear safety glasses when dealing with scenes that involve rescues or vehicle accident type situations, because there may be another common form of personal protective equipment would be the reflective vests. They should be found on the ambulance somewhere. They need to be ANSI compliant. They help increase your visibility when working beside a roadway, especially in low light situations. And they must be worn when working beside a roadway, whether that be for a vehicle accident or a medical emergency that is beside the road. Some other forms of PPE, depending on the situation, you should consider using body armor anytime there's the potential for violence or gunshots. Turnout gear, consider using that in situations where there is fire involved, or there may be some things like glass, or again, like jagged edges like you may find on vehicle accidents. Things like life jackets, if you happen to be in a water rescue scenario near a body of water.
All right, scene safety on the average scene. Approach with caution. When you get out of your ambulance or whatever you're in, just take the chance to look at the house's windows, see if there's anyone peering out at you. Looks sneaky or anything, anyone lurking around that shouldn't be there or doesn't look like they should be there. And just keep an eye out for you and your partner as you're walking up to the home or wherever you're going. Be aware of moving traffic nearby. When you're taking a patient out of their house, they live along the street, cars park on the street there by their house or something. Just be careful when you're stepping out from between those cars that you don't get hit. Or if their driveway's off an alley or anything, just do what you were told when you were 5 and look both ways before you cross the street. Keep your distance from pets. This is a hard one for a lot of people to do because they want to pet the dog or the cat or, maybe a hamster or something. Yes, even that hamster could gnaw your finger. So, and a lot of pets don't try it. They're just trying to protect their owner. So you just got to keep that in mind. So check behind all doors. It's pretty self-explanatory. Just look behind the door, make sure no one's there that's preparing to hit you or, jump out and grab you and take you as hostage or something. Look inside dark rooms with a flashlight. Just real quick, sweep the room. You don't have to go into great detail, but just, real quick, just even if there is someone in there that you might not see right away, at least, they now have the thought in their head that, hey, he probably seen me, I probably shouldn't jump out now. Be alert to people in other rooms of the home. You just want to make sure, ask how many people are in the house and where they're at. Just so you have a count in case anything goes wrong. That way, again, you know where everyone's at. Be aware of anything unusual, odors or odd behavior. Odors, some odors could mean that, they're either making meth or throwing some other kind of drug in there. Or maybe it's like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre home and they have a bunch of dead bodies in their basement. So just look out for that. And odd behavior. especially people with mental illness, if they start acting erratic, that situation's probably going to go south. Just keep an eye on it and keep an eye on them. Another thing you want to be aware of is listening for any kind of noises. So if like beeping, chirping of a detector, if you walk by a CO detector, a lot of them have a number count on them. Just take a quick glance at that and make sure that's okay as well, especially if someone's feeling sick, or multiple people in the home are feeling sick. That could be a pretty good indication of what's going on as well.
One of the most common scenes that we respond to is beside a road. Anytime you are near a roadway, it could be very unsafe for people who are involved because of moving traffic. So you're going to want to make sure that you utilize your apparatus blocking. You want to keep an eye on the traffic patterns and movements. And you should consider calling additional resources like fire, police, or PD to help control the traffic flow. Remember, when you pull up behind a scene, when you park your apparatus, you're going to want to park it at an angle and turn the wheels away from the scene so that if it gets hit from behind, it doesn't roll forward into the scene. It rolls away from the scene. And when you walk up, if you see that it involves down power lines, you need to keep your distance from that. And remember to perform a scene size up. Make a 360 of the accident. Check for any hazardous placards, anything leaking, any potentially hazardous substances. Locate the driver, ask if he has all his the paperwork for what he's hauling, that type of thing.
Another point to make involving utility poles. If it is involving a utility pole, always park 2 utility poles away from the one that was affected. If there's a transformer on it, that could be bad. You got to watch out for leaking oil from the transformer as well. Get PP&L involved right away. Usually police and fire take care of that, but if around here in Lancaster, a lot of departments are volunteer. Police might be tied up on something else. Just something to keep in the back of your mind to call PP&L. Okay, scenes of violence may include shootings, stabbings, assaults, and psychiatric emergencies. Violence has the potential to occur on any call. Aggressors include bystanders, family members, and sometimes even the patient themselves. If you're in a crowded place, like a restaurant or maybe even a sports game, you're taking care of someone's child and they don't think you're doing the right thing, or they don't think you're moving fast enough, they begin to yell and sometimes lose their mind. And then without even them knowing, they become an aggressor. So it's always good to have crowd control whenever possible. And if your partner's not immediately needed in patient care, just kind of have them keep everyone back away from you. Shooting, stabbings, assaults. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Don't go in there without the cops clearing it first. Psychiatric emergencies. Sometimes the police won't be there and you're on your own. Just try to keep a cool, calm demeanor. A lot of the time that diffuses any kind of situation before it even becomes a situation. All right, managing a violent scene. If law enforcement has not already been called, call for them. You're going to need them, obviously. They're the ones that handle that kind of stuff, not us. If law enforcement is there and there is an update that the scene is, potentially violent, don't enter until they say that it's okay to enter. When you do get onto the scene, just pre-plan your escape route. Always have 2. Just something to have in the back of your mind in case things go south. Remove potential weapons. If you walk into a house for an overdose and you find someone unconscious laying on the floor and there's a baseball bat next to them, just kick that baseball bat out of the way. Just, nip it in the butt before it becomes a problem. Be alert for indications of impending violence. An example of that would be if you're taking care of a young woman on the scene, her boyfriend, husband, fiance, whoever, standing right in there, gripping his fist, grinding his teeth, looking at you, like you just kicked his puppy because you're not doing what he thinks you should be doing, or you're taking too long, or anything like that. Or you're asking questions that he doesn't think are appropriate either. Don't let the patient block your exit. And it's not just the patient, it's anybody. You shouldn't let anybody stand between you and the exit. And always, while you're doing your assessment, just take 2 seconds and turn around, make sure no one is blocking your exit. Make sure that exit is still clear. Nothing fell in the way, or, like I said, no one's standing back there, or, whatnot.
So what are some indications that a scene is about to turn violent? Signs of impending violence include restlessness or agitation, use of profanity, yelling or loudness, especially in anger, any kind of destructive behavior, smashing things, punching walls, threats, intoxication, and clenching fists or muscle tensing, teeth grinding, anything like that. If you start to notice some of these things becoming, if these things start to become noticeable, you should prepare to back out of the scene and don't engage with the patient more than you have to. And immediately call for backup when you start to notice any of these behaviors. Situational awareness is key. If you're not paying attention, looking for these type of things, it could end badly.
All right, some just real quick environmental safety stuff. Let's get wild. So, if you're going to be working outside, some stuff you should know about. If there's any trails in your response area, what type of wildlife you might have in your response area, basic poisonous plants, and just know the weather as well.
So, some general trail safety: if you would be called to a scene that requires the access of a trail, you should consider using a guide, especially if you're not familiar. Remember to have at least one, possibly more forms of navigation, including a GPS and a map and compass. Remember to keep in contact and to advise others of where you are going. Most times this isn't too hard, especially on an emergency scene if there are other resources involved. And just general trail safety. Watch where you put your feet. Make sure that you don't lose your balance. That type of thing. Remember to carry lots of water, some food, first aid, supplies, stuff like that.
All right, so wildlife. If you're out there providing care to someone and you see a wild animal, don't touch it. Keep your distance from it. A lot of wild animals get scared off by loud noises, so maybe that would be something to consider. Know what type of venomous animals could be found in your response area. PA, some spots of PA there are rattlesnakes that are venomous, some venomous spiders as well, and stuff like that. Also, it's a good idea to know if you do have or could have some venomous animals in your response area. Do any of the facilities that you transport to or within a decent amount of time of your response area, do they have any antidotes? I think around here in Lancaster, the hospitals that we would call and ask for antidotes, I'm pretty sure would be Hershey Medical Center and uh, facility in Philadelphia.
Another thing to be watching for while you're out in the woods would be certain kinds of poisonous plants, poison ivy, poison oak, and poison sumac. All of them have 3 leaves. Um, so the general phrase is leaves of 3, let it be. Um, so if you see any plants that resemble that, it would be safe just to avoid it as much as possible. Going along with that, remember to wear long pants and boots if you would happen to accidentally walk through any of that. Having a barrier of clothing between the plant and your skin would be helpful in keeping it off of your skin. Um, and then keep an eye above you if you're working under a dead tree, especially on a windy day. It would be best to move out from any area where any dead limbs might fall on you.
All right, so weather. Um, if you're going out onto an environmental rescue or anything like that, just know what type of weather you're going into. Obviously, you can just look outside and tell. If it's hot, bring water. If it's cold, layer up. Um, if you're on like a trench rescue or a collapse or anything like that, um, you want to be concerned about not the weather that you're experiencing right now, although that is a concern. You want to be more concerned about the weather in 4 hours, 6 hours, because that could really dampen your rescue um, and cause some issues as well that you need to prepare for. All right, so another thing that we thought would be pretty cool to go over, um, and especially because here in Lancaster, over the years we've had some of these pop up, are condensate labs, mostly meth labs and stuff like that.
What is a clandestine lab? Clandestine drug laboratories, commonly known as CLAN labs, often house substantial quantities of highly toxic, corrosive, flammable, and explosive chemicals. These CLAN labs may be found in such locations as hotel and motel rooms, barns, trailers, recreational vehicles, apartments, and rural areas. This is typically somewhere where individuals would most commonly make methamphetamine.
All right, so how to spot one. Um, these are only a few things to look for. The list, if you look online or search it anywhere, is quite long. But unusual odors, excessive amounts of trash, suspicious looking houses, odd looking plumbing or diverted electrical lines, frequent visitors at odd times, um, excessive security features, and unfriendly neighbors. Um, Again, those are just a few. All right, 2 types that are not easy to spot: um, one-pot systems and rolling labs. Yes, believe it or not, people do try to make meth in their vehicle while rolling down the highway.
One pot lab. A one pot lab is when someone gets the ingredients needed and mixes them in a pot or bottle. They then shake the container to create pressure, which makes the meth. This only makes a small amount. The one pot method is used frequently because it's easily concealable, easy to move around, and easy to transport.
All right, a rolling lab, again, is exactly what it sounds like. Someone's driving down the road making meth in their car. Most of the time, just from stories I've heard and things I've found, these are mostly just one pot systems, but you do get some people that have a full out lab in the back of a trailer that's going down the road, or a van or bus, or if you're on Breaking Bad, an RV. This is incredibly dangerous, just because these things are volatile. One small bump or spill, these things could blow up. So just from another safety aspect, if you go to a vehicle accident and people are acting weird, just take a look around. If you do find something, have the police come over to it right away.
Some items used to make meth include acetone, lithium batteries, alcohol, ether, energy drinks or over-the-counter meds like Sudafed, Freon from a refrigerator or air conditioner, and sulfuric acid. Most of these items are pretty noticeable items. They may have strong smells or distinctive odors. And then a lot of them, for instance, batteries result in a lot of waste because they take the batteries apart to get the lithium out of them. Same with energy drinks and over-the-counter meds. They're going to leave a lot of packaging behind.
All right, again, these things are very dangerous. If you do find yourself walking in on one, or you find one, don't touch it. Don't touch anything. Leave the scene right away, and call for additional resources. Hazmat teams, police, and then police will, I'm sure, call everyone else into the party. But your biggest thing is identify it. Know that something isn't right. Know that what they're doing is, probably illegal. If they don't tell you what they're doing, and to back out and call police. Other than that, don't get yourself involved. It could just get bad if you do, and it's a safety thing as well. All right, and again, I'm Kevin.
And I'm David.
We want to thank you for taking time out of your day to watch our video. We hope you learned something, took away something that maybe you've never known before. If you have any questions, there's an email on this slide here. So just shoot your question in that email. That gentleman will get it to us, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. And our slogan around here involving safety at Warwick Community Ambulance is Think Safety. It's everyone's job.